Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure.
Oh my god, it's so pink. It's like
I know it matches my whole life. It wasn't on purpose. I just like the flavor.
Welcome to The Consultant. We are here tonight with Niki Takesh.
You said it right. I was like, shit.
How I describe you, and when people were like, oh, who are you having on? I mean, you're a legend, and you are not only in fashion, a stylist, podcaster, and I feel like you know everyone in this city and in LA, and you also act as well.
I'm an aspiring actress,
Yes, and I kind of have crossed paths with you over the years, and you're always doing something new, but also just like crushing it. You had a sunglass line, and now you're in the podcast world and popping off with that, and so
love it.
How would you describe it? If someone were to be like, who is Niki Takesh, what would you say?
What I really want to do is act. I need to be an actress. I don't know what I'm doing with my life other than not, like, why am I not acting? I should be. So here's my open call. I feel like I'm on Barbara Walters or something. Like, I feel like I'm like Amber Heard this morning on Savannah Guthrie with these lights.
That's honestly the vibe I'm going for. To start from the beginning, can you talk a little bit about like where you grew up and sort of your younger self? And then we're going to kind of trace that to your present day moment, where you find yourself here.
Okay. I was born in Iran, random country. I moved to America, Los Angeles, when I was like 3 or 4. I actually don't know the exact answer, and I need to find out because I don't know anything. I could have been 2, but I think I was 3 or 4. I grew up. My mom still lives in the same apartment that I grew up in, on the west side of LA. I went to Beverly Hills High School. Did not fit in there. I loved to party. I got straight F's in high school on purpose. I was actually very smart. I left high school early, so I technically dropped out, but I technically have a diploma through like some weird program that's not the GED, but it's similar.
Also, when you say you didn't fit in, like, what does that mean? Because literally everyone who has sat in that chair said that. But it means something different to everyone.
I didn't fit in with the people at Beverly Hills High School. I fit in with
the crowd you found
at different schools.
Right.
Yeah, but not at my high school. There was like, it was just
what's the vibe of,
I don't know, there was like 2 punks, like, and they're like fake punks. They're from Beverly Hills, you know?
Right.
Like there was one black person and it was Little Romeo.
Okay.
You know, like it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, but I just like, there was no one there that was like me.
Yeah.
You know, funky.
Yeah. And then how did you meet people at that age?
I really actually wish I could tell you. It must have been Facebook or MySpace.
I know, or it was MySpace.
Like,
maybe.
where did I meet people? I don't know. I met my BFF Stas, who didn't go to my school, like at the Venice Boardwalk.
Oh.
So I'm sure I met friends through her from her school. She like was a Santa Monica Venice kid, and then I don't even know. Like, I met like Paloma. I met her on the promenade. I guess I just met people at the mall now that I think about it. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I left high school at 17. So a year early. So I went to like community college a year early, I guess with the intent of going to real college, but I don't think that was ever real. And then, you know, a lot of my friends moved to New York for college, but I didn't do that. But I'd like to. I just came and visited and stayed in their dorms for a really long time. Yeah. And that's probably when I met you.
What were you diving into at that stage after high school?
I was just partying. I honestly like just became a crazy drug addict. Like, you know, I don't even know.
What was your drug of choice?
I was like fully a heroin addict. Probably by 18. So yeah, I don't know, like me falling into like working in fashion was just like coincidence of like I needed $100 and I was like, okay, I'll be a styling assistant, you know? Like someone was like, oh, I know a stylist, you can. And like,
so you were like a totally functioning addict, or like?
I wouldn't say fully functioning. I just was like, I need a job. I mean, I was like 18 or 19. Yeah, how old was I then? Probably 19, 20. Yeah. And then at that point, maybe when I did like my first like styling assistant job, I was probably like 20. Well, actually, I was like 17, but that doesn't count because that was like some weird music video for some weird woman that my friend's mom like was weirdly a part of, and that didn't count. But I don't even know. I think I like was an extra in like a commercial, and now it's all coming back to me. And I remember seeing a really cool girl on set, and I was like, is her job just picking out clothes? That's so cool. And then I was like, that's a job. And then at one point, maybe when I was like 20 or 19 or something, I was like, I should probably get my shit together. And I had a friend who was like older and cool, and I was like, should I get a job? And she's like, oh, I can hook you up with like a styling assistant job. And I did that. It was like I want to say like a Mercedes-Benz commercial. I was just like assistant. You know, when you're an assistant, you don't do much but go to the mall and like schlep and like steam. But I was down because I had money for drugs. Right. So I did that. And then I guess like my first like cool thing in terms of like styling that I did was I was just like I don't know, I find myself in weird places. I was like at the chateau for some like art dinner. I wish I could remember the name of the artist.
But this is how I think of you is that no, you are and I'm not saying this to like gas you up, like I think of you as being like a social genius. No, genuinely, like there are people who no can walk into a room and just like be like themselves, comfortable. You do attract people from very different walks of life, and then you ultimately get like work and
I literally was sitting at this dinner and this girl was like, oh, I'm a stylist, and I was like, oh, if you ever need an assistant, hit me up. Like I don't even know why I said that because I don't even like want to do that.
But you're like it's a thing of no, but it's like a comfortability with like self-promotion, but it's not like boastful. Like I don't know.
It's weird. I guess I was just on drugs, so I was just confident. I don't know. And then like
because I was gonna be like, what advice do you have for people?
No, I don't do drugs. I don't know. She called me like a week later. She lived in New York. Her name is Haley Woolens. Shout out. She's like so iconic. She's like the best stylist in the world. I'm like, oh. And she was New York based, but she was working a lot in LA because she had just been hired like that month to be Drake's stylist.
Right.
And she had like no team in LA. So it like really worked out. And then it was like, you know,
off to the races.
Yeah. I mean, every time I've done a style job, I don't know if I've done one in forever, but I've always said, it's my last time ever doing this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's cool. I don't mind doing it. I love doing it, but it's not like my like
calling.
Yeah. But you know, if you need me, I'm here for you.
I mean, I think that there's an element of feeling kind of like comfortable and confident, which you have. And so like, do you feel like you've just always been this way? Or like,
I honestly don't. I don't think I was always confident. I like definitely wasn't. I was definitely always like very shy and insecure. And I think that's why I did drugs. Yeah. That makes sense. So no, I was not always confident.
And then the drugs were kind of the mask. And then when you step outside, but then when you step outside,
and then I was like, I'm cool and popular and on drugs. I mean, we could cut this out. We should probably cut this out. Actually, definitely cut this out. But we can keep this part in. My whole identity is drugs.
That's how you feel like what it is?
No, I just like the last time I did a podcast, which is my own podcast. That was all I talked about, which is great because some people loved it. But I'm down to like
expand.
But we can, I mean, you can still ask questions about it.
Okay. The only question I'll ask is just kind of,
but like get sober is my advice. Yeah.
But so you were saying that the drugs were the mask. So then when did you realize you had to step outside of the drugs and kind of leave?
I was like 22.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know. Yeah. I was like 22 and I just, you know, hit like 18 rock bottoms and I was like, okay, I should probably get sober.
It's amazing.
Thanks. I try.
And so what's next for you? So like, what are you working on now?
I'm negotiating season 2 of my podcast.
Hell yeah.
I want that Joe Rogan money.
Hell yeah. Forbidden Fruits, right?
Yes. I didn't decide. Julia Fox decided for me. It was literally within a 5-minute like window. I was like, sure. And then like the next day there was a podcast. Like I couldn't choose. I wasn't even down. I don't even like podcasts. We started it. I know it came out end of 2021, I guess, but we started it this time last year. What month is it? June? Yeah. Like we started it summer of last year.
Okay, so congratulations.
But not what we have now. But you know, like the fish, like, you know, the moves and like the doing it and whatever, that all started. So
and so for people who don't know about Forbidden Fruits, how would you describe it?
I don't know. Should we wait for the siren? I'm like such a podcaster. I like this raw audio. I don't know. We had to make like a spiel, like a plot line for Spotify for them to like pick us up as a show. Like, you know, they had to like have
Yeah, like a package.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't want to plot, like, because I can't like stick to one thing. So I don't know. I think our bio or our show description is something about like controversial guests or like taboo, forbidden fruit topics, but it's not really the case. I do like that, but I also think there will be guests that aren't necessarily like people that haven't had a voice or haven't shared their story before. Can't like keep it too boxed.
Yeah.
But
I think another thing is just the chemistry between the people has to be so good, and you two have known each other for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
I know.
not
I
this
think
forced natural.
Yeah, I
it's
know,
very natural. It's not forced.
It really did work out well. Like even just like our first episode, like we were just sitting there, and it was like I just agreed to do this like 20 hours ago here. And what am I doing here? And we both were just so natural, and it was instant. Yeah. Especially for people that have never listened to a podcast, which I keep wanting to mention, but they keep cutting it out at the Spotify episode. So I'm gonna say it again. Don't listen to podcasts.
So you are kind of a notorious like hustler. Kind of get into that. How?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm really proud of myself though. I think my mom just taught me somehow. I don't know. Like I haven't paid rent in like 3 years legally. Because I'm a boss ass bitch.
Wait, how do you? What do you mean by that?
I represented myself in court, and I won a lawsuit with my landlords, and they owe me $80,000.
You're joking.
I'm not. It was really iconic.
Wait, I get it in New York.
Yep, in New York
So
City.
this is the real estate drama.
Yes.
Wait, so go into it because this is the true New York.
It's such a long story,
but we love New York real estate drama.
So there was like a shady situation. I have this like studio apartment in East Village. Something just wasn't right. Eventually, I found out that I was like, this building must be rent controlled. Like, just things weren't adding up. There was like a multitude of things. Such as one of them being that I had a sublease instead of a real lease, even though they told me it was a real lease. Just like whatever. There was like all these weird red flags. Eventually, I like found out a way to like look into if your apartment's rent controlled or not. Mm-hmm. Or rent stabilized, which you can do on www.com/ismyapartmentrentstabilized.com, which is the website that I used. Or is it maybe rent controlled? Whatever. Try both. But rent controlled, rent stabilized, it's like late. It's late. It's not that late. You're but for me, it's weirdly late. Anyway, www. I'm just kidding. Those are two different things. Rent controlled and rent stabilization are two different things. So I followed the steps on this website. I got a copy of the rent history in the mail dating back to 1984, in which I found out that there was only one person who lived there before me, and her legal rent was $600. And I was paying $1,825, which is not a bad deal for a studio in the East Village, but considering the circumstances, like my cabinets don't close, it's lopsided, cracks everywhere, like the refrigerator was from 1921, like, you know, the sink, there's wood falling, you know, like it was a trap house. You know, there shouldn't have been, you know, things weren't adding up. It was also a fourth floor walk up.
Which is good for the booty.
My shower's disgusting. It is good for the booty. But you know, it's actually, just get off topic. I looked into this. I'm like, are stairs good for the booty? It's only good for the booty if you are putting pressure on your heel.
Oh no. So now
because
it's just
that way you're working the glutes out. If you're going upstairs like a normal person, the only muscle you're working out is your like calf or something, whatever that's called.
Yeah. Whoa, good to know.
Yeah. So I've tried to keep that in mind when I go up my 4 flights of stairs, but because my apartment is such a circus, my apartment like is tilted. So the walk up for my apartment is like slanted. So I can't even like kind of like position myself in a way where I could like make it a workout, because there's something going on with the tilt. I don't know. I think I have vertigo. I don't know what's up and down. It's very topsy-turvy in there. But for whatever reason, the trap house in my apartment like doesn't let me like flex and work out on my stairs. But I'm sure it's doing something. You know, something's happening when you go up those flights of stairs. Got to be losing a calorie or two. Okay, so back to the drums. What happened? Where was I? So the rent was $600 legally. I confronted them. They like denied the whole thing. It was like a 6-month thing where I was like recording conversations.
So you went full PI mode.
And I did like full research mode. Everyone's like, get a lawyer. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't have the money to get one. B, if I did, I wouldn't spend it on a lawyer. C, I was better than every lawyer I even consulted with because they didn't even believe in my case. Like, shocking. Maybe I didn't consult with the good ones. I don't know. He barely believed in my case. Lawyers. And it's like, $5,000 to retain it. Then whatever the settlement would be like, 50% of that. Like, it was just sure if I asked my sister to pay for it. And she was like, oh my God, cute. You should move back to LA. She didn't understand. I was like, ugh, never mind. So I just was my own lawyer and I spent so much time researching it and just getting all the tea. I like literally I printed out like 40 pages. I have like a folder this thick, like highlighted with like all the laws for, because there's a lot of amazing laws for rent stabilized and rent controlled apartments and like tenants rights in New York. So yeah, I just did a lot of work and I stopped paying rent, which I was legally allowed to do for my circumstance. And then they decided to take me to court. I really didn't want this drama to play out in court because who wants to have drama with their landlord? Like, that's my home. I don't want to like feel unsafe in my home or like just feel like tension, I'm not trying to take anybody to court. I was trying to like settle this all out of court. They're the ones that took me to court. So I came home one day to like a stack of eviction papers because I'd been out of town for like a month or something. And they were like, you're being evicted because you don't have a lease. So they were trying to say that I didn't have a lease because the landlord never received my lease signed, which is a tactic that landlords use, which is actually protected for rent stabilized tenants. That law doesn't, or like you don't actually need to have a physical copy of your landlord's signature. If they don't return it within 30 days signed back, then it's considered abided, like it's considered signed and sealed. Right. Because that's a tactic that the landlords use. I know these people are idiots for taking me to court, spending all this money. They had a shitty lawyer. He was so mean. I had to spend so many like elevator rides with just me and him, like awkward. And he was just such a dick. I'm like, you don't have to be a dick. I'm like a 5-foot cute girl. Like, you just don't have to be mean. We can be friends out of the courtroom. At least like smile in the fucking elevator. Jesus. It's like beyond rude. Also, he like served me with the court papers at like 5 a.m. one day. I like it was like 6:30. It was like an inhumane time. I was like the loudest buzzer and I was like, hello? And I like opened the door and he was like, man, just ran up the apartment, handed me the envelope and ran down the stairs. I was like, what the fuck?
So dramatic.
Anyway, then there was like a long court battle and then, well, it wasn't really a battle because I honestly knew that I would win. I just knew I was in the right. I can't believe that this lawyer even tried fighting it. If he was any good of a lawyer, he would know that they didn't have a case. Yeah. Weirdly, like our case got thrown out. They like one day I show up to court. They were like, yeah, we can't find your paperwork or something. They're like, we have to start this process all over again. I was like, okay, weird. And so everything just kept getting delayed and delayed. So it was like it was at least a year in and out of court. I would just show up and sit there for 3 hours and then nothing would happen. And then finally I got my day in trial and I got to Legally Blonde and it was so fun.
What was your outfit? Did you?
Yes, I was about to announce my outfit. I just wore like
what did you wear?
I wore these like Topshop like navy dress pants. I must have worn like a long sleeve like tight like mock neck thing. I don't remember where it was from, but to hide the tattoos. And then I wore my fake Go-Yard bag for like, my folder and stuff, like just so chic. I must have had my hair up, I looked legally blonde. It was amazing. Unfortunately, there was no physical jury. I really wanted to talk to a jury, but honestly, I won. I literally won. It was a group of 3 dudes versus me, and I fucking won. And not only that, the judgment from the judge was like, I want to say $68,000 or $78,000. I know it's weird that I don't remember. You? Yeah, because the law is if a landlord overcharges you from a rent-controlled apartment, you get treble damages. So 2 years. It's what they overcharge you for 2 years times 3 if proven guilty.
Oh my God.
I know. It's not like I've seen that money. And I also haven't really tried hard enough for it. But in conclusion, I just haven't paid rent in 3 years because they owe me all this money, and they're obviously just not speaking to me because they don't want to pay this money.
Right.
So they're not bothering me about the rent. But I also don't want to like live there forever. It's like not cute. I finally got a new fridge though, and a new sink in my bathroom, but it's still not right. And I want like a living room. I want like furniture and like live in a tiny studio. I want like a walk-in closet.
Will you talk a little bit about how your sunglasses line came about?
So the sunglasses line came about honestly because I was insecure about my nose. I feel like I think my obsession with sunglasses started from like I loved wearing them because it covered my nose bump back in the day when I was a child and insecure. And then I just always loved sunglasses. And then I don't know, I just wanted to make a pair of sunglasses. I wasn't really trying to start a brand. I just really wanted to design this like one pair of sunglasses because I wanted to own them. But in order to make them, you needed to make 300 of them. Yeah. So I like made a website, and then it just kind of blew up. And then I like accidentally had like a huge business, and I like don't think I was prepared mentally or like emotionally, and I had to like step back from it. Yeah. Because I like really was not. Had no clue it would blow up, and a business is a full-time job. And it was really hard, like operating the ship on my own. I'm like on the phone with customs and that and this and the FDA and like the manufacturing and then the customer service, and like I just was so it was just me, honestly. It shouldn't have to have been that hard, but I wasn't in the right headspace mentally to operate a business at the time. So after like a year or something, I like had to take a step back, and then the pandemic happened. Right. Well, no, then my friends died, and then the pandemic. It was just it was all these things that go after another. So I'm back, baby. Not right at this moment, but I'm in the works, and I'm gonna bring her back.
Oh, good.
And we're gonna make really iconic sunglasses. It takes a while for things to be made. So hopefully,
and with different styles, or
yes. So September. Would be like iconic. It probably won't happen till October, November. Knowing me, I'm late. Hopefully this fall, new Takesh eyewear.
That's amazing. Yay. So that brings us to the whole dating.
Sorry. Okay, yes, I'm into that.
Are you seeing anyone?
I have a boyf. He's my long distance boyf. He's my imaginary boyfriend. No, but sometimes I think he's imaginary because he's not here. Like, he could just be imaginary. I have a boyf, and we've been on and off for like a really long time. It might be 6 years, but that doesn't really count. We weren't really on in the first 2 years. We were just shbanging and stuff. And I lived in LA, he lived in New York, and then he lived in Mexico, and I lived in New York, and then he lived in LA, and I lived in it's been complicated. I'm in a situationship. And then we were together, and then we broke up like early 2019-ish, somewhere around there. And then I guess we were like not together for 2 years, which is really crazy to look back on. And now we're back together.
So you spent the pandemic apart.
Yeah, which was so annoying because the whole damn lockdown, I was like, can this guy like text me? Like, I'm so down to just like, let's make up and like quarantine together. Like, I was like waiting for the text. He was like by himself in his house. Like,
with this current guy who's back on, how did you meet?
He slid in my DMs on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I thought he was some random person. Like,
you got to get into, how does that work for you?
Well, he didn't have a picture of himself. Ooh, is someone at the door? No? Just kidding. I got excited. Thought it was a surprise guest. Oprah. Oh my God, that'd be so fun. He like didn't have like a picture properly of himself. So for all I knew, he was like some random like weirdo, like, no, I wouldn't even call them a fan, but just like some horny person, just like some, like, didn't make sense. Like, I don't think he like stood in like, hey, you're hot. Like, I don't remember what he said. It was probably just like a response to a story or something of that nature. I should probably find out, but how do you go up all the way? And so I think
what made
I ignored it. And then I think he tried again. I probably ignored. And then I think after the third time I was like, do I know this person? Yeah. And then I was like, the name kind of sounds familiar. And then I asked around. The name sounded familiar because he has a brother who I knew. So I was like, oh, wait, I'm confused. Do I know this person? I mean, I guess we must have had mutuals, but maybe not that I don't know why I thought he was a random, because we must have had mutuals. Was this before the mutual friends feature? It might have been. Yeah. Might have been. That changed everything. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, is he cute? I don't know. And then, you know, we just talked for a while. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll meet him when I go to New York. But I like didn't expect much. I was like just under a year sober at the time. I was like at the best place in my life mentally. Like I was like so... Ugh, I wish I could be her again. I was like a preacher. I was like Oprah. I was like Ellen. I was just so iconic. Not Ellen. I was like Kim Kardashian. I don't know what I was going through, but I was living. And
what does that look like?
I was just so spiritually woke and happy, and like nothing could bring me down. I didn't care about dick. I wasn't dickmatized. Like a guy could not text me back. I didn't care. I also like purposely didn't have sex for like 7 months at that point. I was like, okay, yeah. Like it was just all these, like I just didn't need,
clarity.
I had found God. I was like truly like in that, like they call it a pink cloud. I was just high on life. So I was like, I guess I'll meet this guy, and if he's hot, sure. And if not, because you can't really tell. I don't know what he looked like. You can't really tell on the internet. Like someone can look good in photos. You can also just not vibe in real life. You can vibe over text but not have the chemistry in real life. Some people you have better chemistry with in real life, and terrible text chemistry.
Some people can be completely wildly different via text than they are in person.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the chemistry over text can be different. I mean, I'm a catfish. Like I look so much better online than I do in person.
That is so not true.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I mean, I think everyone's somewhat of a catfish. You're not going to post like a bad picture of yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I don't know. But then I like actually liked him. I was like, oh, he's cute. I was like, I'm not going to have sex with him on the first date. And then I didn't. And then I did the second date or third date. I don't know. And that was that. Rest is history.
If you were to give advice to people as to how to meet people, whether it's romantic, friends, getting out there,
I'm gonna have to say the internet, unfortunately.
I know.
Probably outdoors. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I met all my friends outdoors at malls, but that was the early 2000s and everything's so different now. I mean, I've met a lot of people online probably.
I was gonna say, do you find yourself meeting people online now? Like, do you find...
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, but definitely.
I mean, do you find yourself...
That's like normal. I feel like I have so many friends from the internet.
Well, I feel like we're at this strange age where a lot of people in like their 30s, early 30s, late 20s feel like their worlds are not really expanding and they're not really like making new friends or kind of... Do you find that you have new people in your life all the time?
I do... This past like 2 years. I didn't before. I made a lot of friends during COVID. I was always one of those people that was like, no new friends, because I loved my friends, and I just like don't like other people. I'm like quality over quantity. But I like, now that I thought about this the other day, I was like, wow, I have so many new friends. It's so weird. I weirdly made a lot of friends on Zoom through AA on Zoom. Yes.
Amazing.
I've made... Yeah, I don't know. I weirdly like made a lot of friends. I think also I like lost a lot of friends, dark, but a lot of my friends died. And I think to fill the void of them being gone, I like reconnected with a lot of friends and also made a lot of new friends. So I'm like 100 new friends can maybe fill 10% of the void of this friend that's gone or something. I don't know. Cause like, yeah, I definitely, since that happened, I feel like have a lot of new friends, but also have been more communicative with a lot of people from like back in the day that I like. I feel like that was the pandemic though, right? Yeah. I feel like people were just like connecting over the internet again. I definitely went on like Raya dates back in the day. Like when did Raya first begin? I was like a beta tester for Raya, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but I was a beta tester. So it was like literally the month that it came out.
Your opinion mattered.
And I went on a date the day that I got the app. I think it was 2013. Yeah. No, 2014. And I went on a date the day that I got that app. There was only 10 people on it. And the guy was so disgusting and I had like the worst sex in the valley. I smoked his weed. I cried. Yeah.
So Raya beta.
It was just like
testing.
I was just like, oh yeah. I was giving Raya beta testing. It just wasn't it. I think he was like a camera operator on One Tree Hill. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember him saying,
right.
one thing I remember from that night is just him saying something about working on One Tree Hill, but like not really.
What's the best advice you've been given? And we can do it. We can break it up. How about what's the best advice you've been given career-wise? And then what's the best advice you've just been given, like general life advice?
The first thing that comes to mind is from my high school? My high school psychologist, not chiatrist, psychologist that I went to like 4 times. And then I think she like told my parents that I was like mentally ill and needed to be heavily medicated. And they were like, no, or something, you know, I don't know. But she said success is the best revenge, or happiness is the best revenge. I can't remember which one she said. I also don't really know the difference between success and happiness, unfortunately. YOLO.
It's honestly great.
Yeah, like just have fun. It's like spend your money, go into debt, be crazy. You're only going to be this hot and this young today.
When you say happiness is the best revenge, success is the best revenge, like, are there people that you feel like in your life have kind of rooted against you? Like, do you feel like do you have haters?
No.
Or people who are rooting against you?
No, I would just say that's more for like people that have wronged you or hurt you. And then it's like, okay, like all you can do is just like live happy. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't really have, thank God, I don't have any like hatred towards people. I really I don't have beef with people. Thank God. Yeah. I would hate to be that girl. Yeah. You know? I said that, but then the other day someone was like, you have beef with this person, that, and I was like, do I? I don't really have beef. They just probably don't like me, but I love them. God bless them.
And if you were to I don't know, zoom out, why do you think people wouldn't like you? To me, that would just scream jealousy. No, because
I stole their man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. I think any sort of like hate and pain, and you know, I pray for my haters. I don't really have that many, I don't think, shockingly. I would hate me if I wasn't me. There's actually a lot of people on TikTok that are really disturbed by the way I look. What do you mean? Say I look like Sloth from Ice Age, who's actually cute. No, but there's a whole...
Nikki, you're beautiful.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I literally respond to all of them. I'm like, I'm actually hot. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like, I was actually shocked at the amount of like hate I was getting for it was a bad photo. It was not a good photo of me. It was like a candid paparazzi moment. I did not look good, I will say, but it doesn't matter. They were like, that girl looks like her face was melted. They were like, is she photoshopped? I was like, am I that ugly? Because you know, you look at people on the internet sometimes and they're like, is that a real person, or are they like morphed, or are they just really I'm like, that sucks, you know? So I'm like, damn, do people see me that way? I like had a moment. I was like, there's no way. I'm like, maybe it's just a bad picture. I was just shocked. I was in awe. I was like, I've been meaning to make a TikTok to respond to all those comments. I think there's like a way. I wish I was like more on these things. I'd be so viral and so rich, but to respond to all of them and be like, she looks like a frying pan, and then I'd like and like, she looks like the sloth from Ice Age, and I'd be like,
how do you maintain mental health?
Staying off drugs, really important, and taking your meds is also very important. And yeah.
Are you conscious of your diet?
No, I know I said I worked out today, but I don't do that. I want to start. I'm probably the least healthy of like my friends, but I think the older, you know, the more you age, the more you like try to think about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I will eat $100 worth of Taco Bell and McDonald's. Like, I don't actually, it's like, just have fun. That's what that's my advice. Like, don't worry about things. Like, eat that fucking piece of cake and eat that damn cupcake and like enjoy life.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure.
Oh my God, it was so fun. I hope I looked cute and sounded cute.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm down to come back.